My name is David.
I'm Dustin.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm James.
And I'm Garrett.
Fear. We all have fear. From the silly, like bread and butter pickles,
To the more rational, like snakes, heights, or death.
Managing fears are key for achieving goals and general success in our day-to-day lives.
Here are some examples of our fears and how we have faced them.
Hello. In my life, my biggest fear would have to be the fear of how others would perceive me, as well as the fear of not being accepted. In all honesty, I did not exactly plan on facing my fear, but it happened all the same. As a gay man living in the closet in the middle of Oklahoma, which happens to be in the middle of the Bible Belt, I wasn't exactly willing to face my fear of coming out. But I was finally able to muster the courage to face my fear by speaking to my therapist. Imagine my surprise when the insurance company sent a bill meant for the therapist to my mother, who happened to open the mail. It said that you cannot cite homosexuality as a valid reason to bill for a session in therapy because homosexuality is not a mental illness. This essentially outed me. This is how I was finally able to grow as a person. I was able to conquer my fear due to this bizarre occurrence, and I was able to tell my family about my sexuality. However, there are still members of my family that do not know, due to their inability to accept it. The hardest part, I believe, was getting over the initial fear of not being accepted. I hope my story will help others face their fears, and to those who are still in the closet or have doubts about their sexuality, I just want to say right now, just to hang in there. This world is full of people who love and accept you for who you are. Things may be bad now, but I know this for a certainty. Things will get better.
My fear is that I'm not going to be good enough. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt me. As a kid, I couldn't wrap my head around this because words were all that I knew. In the 2nd grade, my father remarried. She became the light of his world, but he was blinded by this light and thus stopped seeing what he didn't want to see. I don't know what it was, but something sparked her hatred of me, and I became a victim like so many of us have. I started hearing words from her that I had never heard before. I was just a kid. I had no clue what it all meant. She would make fun of my weight, and it became her favorite pastime. Each size that I grew was just another joke. But I was just growing. It was natural. And like most kids, I was clay and was molded by what she said. To this day, each pound that I gain is a curse because of her. Because I was a kid with a mouth that went a mile a minute, my mom found out about my situation. Word got back to my stepmother, and things fell apart just as fast. After school each evening, it became the worst part of my day as she grew more violent. As I walked in the door, she would grab my arm so tightly that it would leave bruises the size of her fingertips imprinted on my skin. Childishly, these marks I called Dalmatian spots to my mom. Hair pulling, slaps on my legs, bruises of all shapes became common. Protecting myself would make the sessions last longer. So, eventually I took it without fighting back, and this all lasted until 5th grade. I had morphed into a silent spectator, never taking part in games at school. I wasn't good enough, pretty enough, thin, or smart enough. By the time my mom received custody of me, hundreds of lawyer fees later, it was too late. My father passed away 3 years later. Our relationship ruined because he no longer trusted me. The man that was supposed to be my hero, my protector, was now gone. So as the rhyme goes, sticks and stones, it's a lie. As if mere sticks could hurt worse than the words thrown in my face. And don't tell me that a broken bone hurts more than the words we hear, because the pain caused by them is internal and eternal. I've been unable to outgrow the word ugly, because until high school, that's what I thought I was. Until someone saw behind the hair that I pulled in front of my face saw my soul instead of the shield that I placed in front of me, saw me as talented, beautiful, and told me that I was good enough. I was able to beat down my insecurities, smash the words and notions that had consumed me, so that I can tell you my story. If you truly can't see how beautiful you are, get a better mirror. Allow yourself to be moved by someone who knows you better, can see your real faults, and still love you for who you really are, whether they be friends or family. You and I are stronger than sticks, stones, and words, and are still here with our hearts beating despite what has been said until it was all we could see. Because they were wrong. Because you and me, we are good enough. It doesn't matter what anyone else says.
My fear is whether I could be a good father or not. You see, my father was a drug addict, and my stepfather, he was an alcoholic. They were both abusive in their own ways. I was shown everything that a father shouldn't be, and I was afraid that I would become a product of my situation. I was afraid that I couldn't be a good father. When I got married, my wife already had 3 kids, so instantly, I was a dad. We had a son in the first year and a daughter in the second, and 2 years after that, we had our 3rd child, another son. I had 6 kids. 6. How could I be a good father? This question just haunted me. Well, I owed it to them to find out. My kids deserve. No, my kids are going to get better than what I got. They will know what a good father is, without a shadow of a doubt. I faced this fear by force, but I also faced it by choice. I chose to get married, and I chose to have 3 beautiful kids. And like I said, now I have 6. In the end, it won't be up to me to decide whether I'm a good father or not, but it'll be my 6 kids that make that decision for me. Now, I'm not perfect, and I'm sure I'm going to make plenty of mistakes through the years. But in the end, they're the ones that's going to make that decision. So when I'm old and gray and on my dying day, I hope that my kids can say to me, Dad, you have done your very best. I love you. You have been a great father. And at that time, I will know that I have not just faced my fears, but I conquered them.
Let your future be your motivation. I once had a fear of myself, not knowing who I am, and thinking I wasn't good enough to be successful in life. Truth is, you can do anything you put your mind to. Let the power of information enable you to push forward through any obstacle. Let your desires of your heart be your driving force. Let the confidence in knowing who you are be the foundation for what you stand upon. Never accept failure as an option. Fight for what you want in life, and if necessary, take the extreme measures to achieve your goals. The abilities of the mind are endless. Let your fear be the crutch that helps you achieve success and not be the destruction of it. We all have a purpose and role in life. We just have to acknowledge it and embrace it.
8 weeks ago, the 5 of us were complete strangers from different parts of the country. Our paths have crossed from the 5 of us attending a public speaking course. One thing we have learned is gaining the confidence to speak in public is not an easy skill. This is multiplied, of course, when we all speak about our fears. Sometimes what holds us back in our lives is our fear. But sometimes when you take a closer look, you realize your fear isn't exactly what you think it is. Fear can be the motivation that drives you towards your success. Just like my peers have, you must face your fear and strive for success. The day you do that will be the first day of the rest of your lives.